Here we go, chapter 8. Now, chapter 8 is all about volume and similar solids. Well, we're going to amp that up a little bit. We're going to include some basic knowledge. Now, this is stuff that should have happened in 7th grade, but because we are now 8th grade book, we have to backtrack a little bit. So we're going to do what we call chapter 8 supplementary stuff, and we're going to start with triangles. And the first rule is the sum of the three angles is 180 degrees. Well, how do I know that? And so we're going to do a little bit of a magic trick. Here we have a lovely triangle. It has one angle, two angles, three angles. And so, according to our theorem, it says they add up to 180. So here we go. Da 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 da. And we take angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and when we line them up together, angles 1, 2, and 3, they form a straight line, and straight lines are 180 degrees. So those three angles have a sum of 180 degrees. That's our magic trick. So here we go. Find x. There it is. No, we want the value of x. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. The easiest way is probably just to say, oh, what's 65 plus 54? 119. So angle x is 180 minus 119. (61 degrees). And if I know these two angles, I can find the third with that little bit of work. Or if I have some x's thrown in, I might have to do it a little bit differently, because 40 plus 2x plus 3x minus 10 equals 180. I have to write an equation. Now, I've got some like terms, so we add our like terms. 5x, 40 minus 10 would be plus 30 equals 180. Subtract 30 from both sides. 5x equals 150. Divide by 5, x equals 30. And it says find x. It doesn't say find the value of the angles. If it asked for that, we would have to find this angle's value and this one, and then we know that one's 40. But it just said find x. We classify triangles two different ways. The first way is by its angles. An acute triangle has three acute angles. And remember, acute angles are less than 90 degrees. Less than 90 degrees. So an acute triangle would have three of those. A right triangle has one right angle. Right angles, remember, are 90 degrees. So a right triangle would have one right angle. An obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle, more than 90 degrees. So an obtuse triangle would have an angle more than 90 degrees. An equiangular triangle has three congruent angles, and we show they're congruent by putting little arc marks in the angles. That means those three angles are the same measure. What would that measure be? 3 the same, total of 180. They're 60 degrees each. We also classify triangles by their sides. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides. They're all different. Nobody's the same. Isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. And we would show that with arc marks, tick marks. Equilateral triangle, three congruent sides. Again, 3 tick marks. Now, the nice thing about this is, if there are no sides the same, it will also have no angles the same. If there are 2 congruent sides, you will have 2 congruent angles. 3 congruent sides, 3 congruent angles. So, if we want to find the value of x and then classify the triangle, we start out with 42 plus 2x plus x equals 180. 3x plus 42 equals 180. Minus 42. 3x equals 138. Divide by 3, x equals 46. So x is 46. Now, what? We have to find the angles. That means this angle's 46 degrees. This is 2 times that, which makes it 92 degrees. So by angle size, it is an obtuse triangle. That's my little shortcut for triangle symbol. Now, 3 different angles, that means I have 3 different sides, so it is a scalene triangle also. I classify by angle and sides. Now, this one is kind of a tricky one, but it is very, very important. It's something you'll use lots in later math. A triangle has angle measures with a ratio of 3 to 7 to 8. Now, what we remember about ratios is that ratios have been simplified. That means if I said the ratio of, say, cars to trucks in the parking lot was 3 to 7, it doesn't mean that there's 3 cars and 7 trucks. It might be 30 cars, 70 trucks. 21 cars, 49 trucks. It's been simplified by a common factor. We don't know what that common factor is. And what do we use in math for things that we don't know? We give it a variable. So, 3 to 7 to 8. That means my angles are 3x, 7x, 8x. Because we don't know what x was. So 3x plus 7x plus 8x is 180 degrees. 18x equals 180. Divide by 18. X is 10. If x is 10, that means my angles are 3 times 10, 30 degrees, 7 times 10, 70 degrees, 8 times 10, 80 degrees. They add up to 180. They're in a ratio of 3 to 7 to 8 when we simplify. And that's triangles.